Hello there and welcome to the Agostino Zinga show with your host Agostino Zinga, and this is episode number 904. That is Nuevo 04 of the Agostino Zinga show, coming at you live and direct from an undisclosed location somewhere in the depths of London. How you doing? How you feeling? Great, amazing, good to hear, good to hear. How am I? As you can guess by the title of this particular pod, this particular stream, this particular video, this particular piece of content, all is not well. Last episode, I said all was well because United had just won in the Europa League, 4-1 on the night, and I think 7 whatever on aggregate. We were through to the finals of the Europa League. But I did preface that pod, I did preface that rant by saying that performance, that result will not save the season. The season has been an abject failure, a big fat L all across the board for everybody, from the people that work in the office, from the people that work in the head office, people that work in the training ground, from the players to the youth team players, to the board members, to the owners especially. Everybody across the board gets an F and an L. 2 grades at the same time. F and L, L and F. No trophies will save that. No trophies will change that. But it was still a big performance. Europe's been our real saving grace as a United fan. But I did say this season's been so poor, it's really hard even to enjoy good runs in Europa League. It's really hard to enjoy good trophy moments, good whatever. It's just hard to enjoy this stuff with this team being as bad as they are. Then, just this past weekend on the Sunday, United faced West Ham at home, and guess what happened? Yes, you guessed it. United lost 2-0 at home to the mighty West Ham. I say mighty because they're not actually mighty. They were coming into they had a bad run of form before they faced us. If I'm not to be confused here, if I go on the league table, West Ham before facing us had lost, drawn. And then suddenly they face United, and guess what? They get a victory. They had lost, drawn, right? They had no wins in 4 games. But they face United, and suddenly they get not even a win. They get a clean sheet. They leave Old Trafford with a clean sheet away from home. That for them is a win, because West Ham have been pretty terrible this entire season. Only Manchester United could do that. Only Manchester United could give a team like West Ham the opportunity to win 2-0 at home, despite West Ham only having 9 shots on goal, 4 on target. They still won 2-0. And we had 20 shots on goal, which only 5 were on target. So basically, West Ham had a better shot on target with a ratio than we did. And I'm talking about ratios, I'm talking about stats, because I hope you guys know it's pretty obvious that I didn't watch the game. I'm not afraid to admit that. I didn't watch a single minute of that game. I refuse to watch any of our league games. I refuse. They get me too hot and bothered. Then I'm on spaces, ranting and raving, cursing and effing and blinding because I'm upset. It gets my blood boiling. I don't want to talk to anyone the whole day. So I refuse. I outright refuse to watch us play any league game because we're that bad. I refuse. So I didn't watch it. Hence why I'm talking about stats, because you know me, I never talk about stats. I'm always a person that, obliges by the idea that you should watch football with your eyes. But when it comes to these results, when it comes to this league, when it comes to this performance or this review of the season thus far, it's a hard one to judge and to pass through, because there is no denying that us being 17th, are we 17th at the moment? Let me double check the league. Yeah, we're 16th actually. There's no denying that Manchester United being 16th, and the only reason why we didn't get relegated this season, I think, is because the teams that got relegated were far worse than us. The Ipswiches, the Southamptons, and Leicester City, they were just terrible. They were just too bad. There was no way that we were going to be worse than those 3 teams. If we were, then we definitely would have got, would have deserved everything. But I think if this was previous seasons where the relegated teams were pretty decent, we would have been in real big trouble. So we were really lucky that this wasn't the case. But I think when you look at this season and where we're at, I think it's really difficult as a United fan to sit there and say that the manager doesn't have some level of blame as to why we're at where we're at. Yes, I know the style of play, the players, but there's something about him taking over mid-season when we're 8th, and then we falter all the way to 16th. That's just completely unacceptable. But with that being said, I'm never going to advocate for Amorim to get sacked, especially given the track record of this club and the complete mismanagement of this club by the Glazers over the last 20 plus years, and the fact that he didn't ask to come at the club. He didn't ask to come to the club, sorry. The club took him out of his contract. They bought him out of his contract at Sporting Lisbon while they're in their season. They're probably going to win the league over there. They're probably going to have a double, like back-to-back winning the leagues, right? They took him out of his contract. I think that we paid about, is it 9 million, 4 million? I'm not sure. Somewhere around the 4 to 9 million mark to get Ruben Amorim out of his contract Sporting. They would have known that he needed a specific brand of players to play his very specific style of football. Now, some could argue, in hindsight, was it wise to have gone from an Erik ten Hag manager who needed specific footballers to play a specific way? Every time we were playing badly, it was always about the players. He could never make do with what was available. He just needed more and more players. And for whatever reason, I'm not sure what about Erik ten Hag sold the owners, but they kept obliging him. I don't think there was a single transfer window where he didn't get money to spend on players. He always got money and a lot of it to spend on players, and most of it he wasted on shit that I Ruben Amorim have as a coach. But Ruben Amorim is the same type of coach. He needs a specific type of player to play a specific brand of football. They would have known that. So it makes you think, why didn't they think of an alternative, which would have been to maybe get a coach in who knows how to get something out of what is available to him, a resourceful coach, a coach that can be pragmatic, a coach that can maybe adapt to what he has and maybe with a little bit of his own style of play. They didn't do that. They got someone that was wedded to their style of play, who needed a specific brand of players. Cool, you get him in mid-season, you pay him out of his contract, you bring all his coaching staff in, you reorganize the sporting directions, structure in around him to, I think, make his job easier, I'd assume. But then when it comes to signing players, you don't sign players. That's the thing that I don't get. So as much as I want to sit here and point the finger at Ruben Amorim and say you should have done better, well, he definitely should have. I think he's even admitted it himself. It's hard to place all the blame on Ruben Amorim when this club refused, were reluctant to, or were unable to get him the players he needed to play his style of football. We still don't have a proper left wing back, really, to be honest. Dogu's come in, but he's somebody that you would expect to be a backup to the main right fullback. Same goes for the right side. The right side, left side of that back five, which is one of the premier, most important parts of an Amorim team. He wants to have high flying, high octane wing backs playing on the left and the right. He also wants to have combative, high octane number 10s playing behind the fucking strikers. Those positions are very important in a Ruben Amorim team. We don't have that. So without those players, you're thinking to yourself, how can you play that brand of football that you were, lighting up Europe with Sporting Lisbon, lighting up your league with, and suddenly you come to United and you look like a shit stain? There has to be a connection there. There has to be something going on there. But the club refused to do it. So in this particular case, if the club were to sack Amorim before the end of the season, I think Omar Barada has to go. Whoever was in place, whoever decision it was to hire Ruben Amorim, if they sack him at the end of the season, which I don't mind if they do, I don't wed it to any manager. I don't give a fuck about these fucking people. But if they get rid of him, Omar Barada has to go too. So does anybody else that's connected to the decision of hiring that guy in the first place, because they should have known Wagwan. And if you can't give him the tools for him to do the best job, then you have to let the guy go and get someone else in that maybe can do the best job given the players that are available, which we didn't want to do. We wanted a strong manager with a strong style of play, a strong identity, who doesn't budge, who's a bit of an authoritarian, whatever it is that fucking word is. I fucking mumble it right now because I'm so fucking angry, and it didn't work out. And now here we are, 16th in the league. So excuse me, I have standards. We're not Arsenal fans. We're not Arsenal fans. We're not just happy being in the race. We're not happy just playing football. We're not happy just scoring goals from time to time. We're not Arsenal fans. We're United fans. We want to see us do well across the board. We want to see us have good cup runs domestically. We want to see us have good cup runs in Europe and maybe win a couple. We want to see us do well in the league and maybe challenge for the top spot. That's what we want to see. We're not happy with finishing top 4. If you finished outside the top 4, you might as well finish 17th anyway. To me, it doesn't really make much difference. But in this reality, considering we've lost so many games in a row, it's kind of hard to wrangle. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty hard to wrangle. We have lost 4 of the last 5 games in the league. We've lost 4 of the last 5 games in the league. That's simply unacceptable. Simply unacceptable. And I'm hoping next season there is a change. Me personally, if you would have to ask me, hand on fucking heart, I think this club, this team needs 10 first team players. 10. Hand on heart. 10 first team players to get anywhere near challenging. That's even to challenge. I'm never saying to win the league. I'm saying to challenge. We need 10 first team players. At minimum, if you have to put a gun to my head and say minimum, Agostino, 10 is too much. Okay, give me 6. Then give me 6. If you're going to say minimum, give me 6. I'd say, personally, we need 2 proper wing backs. I'd say we need 2 proper number 10s. And I'd say we need probably 2 not proper attacking wingers as well, aka strikers. I think we could probably do without having a proper number 9. I don't think that's important. We could probably spread the goals amongst the team as PSG do. They don't really have a recognized number 9 playing up front. The number 9 that they do have always sits on the bench and they rotate between, like, you know, basically wingers who can kind of rotate around that front line. I don't think we need an out and out Harry Kane number 9 personally. I don't think that's necessary. We create enough chances. We just need somebody to kind of put them in. I think you can spread those goals around. But if it was me, I'd say minimum of 6. 2 wing backs, 2 number 10s, and 2 wingers playing up front. Those would be my 6. But if you're going to go 10, that would also include a DM, and that would also maybe include a right-sided centre back, and maybe, of course, a number 9 on top. That would make it up to there, up to maybe 9ish, 10ish that we need right now to compete right fucking now. And if he doesn't get that, he's already failed before he started. And I got the feeling if Amri doesn't get back in the summer, he's likely to walk anyway, because he's a man of principle. And to be fair, his reputation is being very rapidly ruined at United. If he stays another season, because I think this season, even his biggest detractors could say, hey, it's not Amrin's fault, it's a board, they didn't get him the best players, blah, 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 da, 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 da. But if next season we play the same way, or we play worse, and we're in a lower position, I think his reputation will take a big hit. And someone like that would, you know, how much he believes in himself, considering all the work that he did at fucking Sporting, he won't want that. He want to get back, you know, on the level that he knows he should be at. So let's see what happens. I'm not looking forward to it. Like I said, the Europa League final isn't a... And I mean, I'm not even looking forward to it now. I really am not. Trophy's not going to save this season. I don't care if we beat Spurs. I don't care if we beat Spurs 10-0. I don't care if we beat Spurs 10-0 in the Europa League final. It will not change how dreadful of a season this was. It will not change it. It's been an unmitigating fail, an L all around. I wish nothing but the worst to our owners, the Glazers. I'm not going to say what I wish for them, but you know what I'm thinking right now. If you know, you know. And I fucking hate this club. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to some good news. No, actually not good news. Let's move on to some sad news. Sad news, actually, regarding Tory Lanez. This is courtesy of TMZ. Absolutely tragic news about Tory Lanez and TMZ. They're saying he got stabbed in prison. And the latest update that I heard about Tory Lanez being stabbed in his prison via I think DJ Academics. I watched his stream earlier. DJ Academics spoke to somebody in Tory Lanez's team, and they said that allegedly he's in critical condition. They're saying allegedly Tory Lanez is in critical condition after being stabbed in prison. Wada woo. So let's roll down. It says this isn't how Tory Lanez prison staff dashes. Okay, cool. Let's see. Okay, cool. Update. A rep for California Corrections confirms to TMZ that Tory Lanez was attacked by another prisoner in a housing unit in the California Correctional Institute (CCI) in Tehachapi around 7:20 in the morning. Prisons. Imagine getting stabbed in a prison at 7:20 in the morning. God almighty, man. Prison's a terrifying place, isn't it? You're getting stabbed up at just before you even had breakfast. People are shanking you. You're getting wetted up. It's at 7:30 in the morning. Could you imagine the pain and the horror? God almighty. Prison staff dashed to the scene and began administering first aid to Tory after calling 911. Tory was then rushed hospital of prison guards to receive more treatment. The CDCR spokesperson did not disclose Tory's condition, but they're saying he's in critical condition. This is not how Tory Lanez wants to get out of prison, but he is after suffering a prison yard stabbing so bad he needs hospital treatment. Tory was in the yard of the California Correctional Institute of Tehachapi on Monday morning when another inmate stabbed him, according to multiple sources, including one in law enforcement. It's unclear what the motivation was for the attack, but one source tells Tory Lanez was rushed by an ambulance to a nearby civilian hospital. they're saying the chatter is on social. The rumors on social are that allegedly this is linked to a Kendrick diss. That's what people are saying on social media. Take it with a pinch of salt, but they are saying that I think in one of the Tory prison tapes that he dropped, one of those mixtapes, he has some sort of diss or veiled diss towards Kendrick, and people are alleging this is payback for what he said about Kendrick, allegedly. Just last week, he posted a pic of himself looking pretty buff behind bars, bragging his next album would drop soon. There's Megan Thee Stallion. I don't know why. You know why they put the picture there, but you gotta think, innit? If you're Megan Thee Stallion, right, would you feel guilty if that guy died? She doesn't really care that he's in prison anyway, but would you feel guilty if he dies from his injuries? God forbid, touch wood, he doesn't. But if you're Megan Thee Stallion, would you have an ounce of guilt or remorse if he passes away or no? Because a part of me thinks she must do, because she must know, you know, deep down in her heart that Tory didn't shoot her, innit? She knows that, right? But as I've said previously when I covered that case, it was more so the fact of how Tory was going on and acting and kind of embarrassing her, and she wanted to kind of teach him a lesson type of thing and get back, you know what I mean? As opposed to, no, you actually shot me, because she knows he didn't shoot her. We all know it was that fucking Kelsey girl that likely shot Megan, and it wasn't actually a shooting. It was more so Tory trying to get the gun off Kelsey, and then in that struggle the gun went off, you know what I mean? And they're both holding it. So technically, who shot her? I don't know. Maybe a combination of two people. But the case wasn't even about Tory shooting her, was it really? It was about him having the gun, because he's I think he was what do you call it? He's a felon and shit, so he couldn't have a gun. But will she feel any ounce of guilt? I don't know. Maybe not, innit? Maybe not, because if you go as far as getting your get back and sending your ex to prison because you had a lover's tiff or something, you probably don't give a fuck about that person, you know? You probably want to see them DIE anyway. You don't give a F. So most likely she's sleeping like a baby tonight. Or she's turning up. The artist is serving a 10-year sentence at California State Prison for the 2020 shooting of Megan Thee Stallion. Tory and Megan are still battling out each other in a court. She's accusing him of enlisting various bloggers to continue publicly smearing her. By the way, that is really sick, by the way. The fact that she's still going after him and he's in prison for these blog smear attacks, like, even if they're true, the man's in prison, man. Like, allow it. Just move on with your life. And if you're Megan as well, personally for me, but I think musically, she hasn't really done anything musically at the moment that's really, you know what I mean? The only thing I think that's been really good actually was a performance at Coachella. That's why I forgot to mention that. I thought Megan Thee Stallion at Coachella was actually surprisingly really fucking good. Like, surprising, because I've seen a couple of films before and they weren't that great, but Megan at Coachella was so fucking good. But she needs to do more outside of the Tory thing to sort of put that story to the back burner, you know? It's not her fault that they include her picture in the story, I get it. But I think if you're Megan Thee Stallion, taking Tory to court, getting a restraining order on him when he's already in prison because of this blogger thing that you think he's got going on, like, even if it's true, I think you should just let it lie and just focus on your career so that people can start talking about you for the music again, as opposed to the Tory shit. That's what you'd want. But maybe she doesn't want that. Who knows? Or maybe she just wants to bury the guy. You know what I mean? When you want to bury someone, what's that saying in fucking 48 Laws of Power? You know what I mean? Like, kill your enemy thoroughly. You know what I mean? I forgot what the law is. About something about, like, eliminating your enemy all the way through. You don't just do it one way. You know what I mean? You go all the way. Actually, let me see if I can get that one up. I think I forgot the 48 Laws of Power list. It's about eliminating your enemy all the way. Let's see if I can find it. What's the complete list? Yeah, I see the complete list. Because I remember I always mention this. Let's see, enemy. Are they going to block it and give me a fucking... Oh, really? Get off. I'm not going to... Where is it? A comprehensive review, summary. Let's see a summary. Let's see if they've got all the lists of the 40 Laws of Power here. Nope, no one's got it there. There you go. Someone have it. Just give me the list of the fucking Laws of Power. Okay, here we go. Maybe it's this one. Let's see, enemy. There you go. Never put too much trust in a friend or an enemy. That's what that one. That's the one. That's the one. Law number 15. I think that's what Megan Thee Stallion is going by when it comes to Tory. Law number 15. Crush your enemy totally. Crush your enemy totally. So as hard as it is me to see the news about Tory Lanez being a fan of his, and just being a fan of music in general, that he's been stabbed in prison, you also have to respect the game, innit? She crossed him. She didn't fucking She wanted to get some get back. He's now in prison with a 10-year sentence, and allegedly he got stabbed, or not allegedly, he did get stabbed, and now he's in critical condition, allegedly, according to academics. I think the Shade Room 2 have reported on it. So keep your head up, I guess. Keep your fucking head up. Moving on. God damn. The Diddy case just started today, actually. I'm sure some of you guys know already. The Diddy case has just started, the first day of the Diddy case. Loads of details have kind of made it out there. One of the main details is this one, courtesy of TMZ. It says Diddy made escorts pee in Cassie's mouth as first claiming the trial opening. So this case has started off with a fucking bang, right? With an absolute bang. Diddy made escorts pee in Cassie's mouth. So I guess with this particular headline and particular details, what you'd imagine would happen now is the I forgot what side it is. I guess the prosecution are going to be arguing that all of this was, even though it was a little bit weird and a little bit out of the norm, that we shouldn't kink shame, and this was all stuff that was going on with consenting adults, not children, because we haven't really got any evidence so far that I've seen that says that Diddy was a pedo. A lot of it's just about him, you know, getting people of consenting of, like, you know, adult age to take part in these freak-offs and shit. So I think that's going to be their defense. They're going to make it seem like, no, this was all with consenting adults. And now many years later, they're now trying to paint Diddy as to be this monster when really they were down to hang, down to be freaky. But now however many years have elapsed and they're now suddenly talking like they're victims. That's what they're going to probably say. But the unfortunate nature of it is, it's so out of the norm for regular people, for regular human beings, for regular civilians, as stand-up comedians will say, that no matter how they try and spin it, it's still gonna not gonna sit right with people. The jury's still gonna see this and be kind of grossed out, you know, the details of it, because Diddy was into some proper freak shit. There's no way of just like making it seem as like, oh, he just was sexually adventurous. No, this is gonna sound very perverted, very extreme, disgusting to some people, especially if you're religious. There's just no way to spin this and make it look okay, you know. That's like, if he's not guilty, there's no way he can not look guilty, because everything's gonna sound crazy to the regular person, you know what I mean? And then when Cassie gets on the stand, it's gonna be worse, because allegedly Cassie's gonna give evidence. She's the main witness, you'd imagine, and she's heavily pregnant. I think she's like, you know, about to fucking give birth soon to her third child. So she's gonna get on stage. She's gonna be crying. She's gonna be heavily pregnant. The optics are so bad for Diddy. The optics are so fucking bad. And if Diddy's side press her too much and make her get, you know, flustered and whatever, it's going to look bad. If she gets, you know, if they just ask her to tell her story, it's going to sound heartbreaking. So either way, it's not looking good for Diddy. It really is not looking good. Let's read the article here, courtesy of TMZ. Diddy made a sex worker urinate in Cassie's mouth during a freak-off, at least according to federal prosecutors who came out swinging in court. Opening statements are underway in Diddy's sex trafficking trial in New York City, and the feds are laying out their case against Bad Boy Records founder, making some graphic allegations. The funny thing about peeing in mouths and stuff, the only time that I've experienced that sort of shit was in Berghain, and unfortunately, I've never had the privilege of being asked. But I've been in Berghain where that famous guy is. He's usually in the Pano Bar bathrooms, from what I can remember. He's usually in the Pano Bar toilet, sorry. There's a famous dude who usually in there, and he just has on a pair of Dr. Martens usually. Some people I've read have said that he's wearing Dr. Marten boots or just boots in general. And some people I've heard he's just completely naked. But when I was there last, he was wearing, no, when I was there, well, yeah, when I was there last and I saw him actually, which was what, maybe a couple years ago. He was just wearing he was just completely naked with boots on. And he goes in there and he's really polite. He'll come up to you and say, hey, would you mind like pissing in my mouth when you're pissing? And then people will piss in his mouth, and he'll obviously get off on it and shit. But I've seen him do it to other people, but I've never been asked. You know what I mean? I've never had the privilege of being requested to pee in someone's mouth. But seeing it in person does nothing for me. As you read it, as you heard me say it, you're like, I don't. That's the one. There's a lot of kinks that you kind of understand. You can kind of get where they're coming from, right? You can kind of see how you can get there. But the urination thing, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't get it. Like, I don't get it in the slightest. Like, and imagine, this is in a bar. This is in a club, sorry, a nightclub in Berghain. So everybody's drinking. Everybody's on drugs and shit. So that's like proper urine. That isn't like, you know what I mean? That's like proper urine. Like, and people are like loving it. And I don't really understand it. I wish I would. I wish I could understand it, because it's interesting to understand these little freaky shits and these little freaky things. But I don't. I've seen it with my own eyes, literally right in front of me as I'm pissing. He was just like, I think on his knees with his mouth open with the guy next to me. But yeah, I've never been asked, unfortunately. Maybe one day, and it's not something that I understand why people would get off on it. I don't get it personally, but hey, not to kink shame, each to their own. It continues. Assistant U.S. State Attorney Emily Johnson is running point for the prosecution right now, and she told the jury Diddy forced Cassie to have sex with male escorts while he watched and recorded. Continuing on, the feds say Diddy called the parties the male escort freak-offs, aka wild king nights or hotel nights. Wow, he loves night, innit? He loves the word night. I'm thinking about that album, Last Train to Paris, right? I'm thinking about that. There's a track on there that says night as well. Like, yeah, he loves nights. He loves nights. Freak-offs, wild king nights, WKNs, and hotel nights. But to be fair, Freak-offs is much more catchy, innit? I see why they went with Freak-offs in the media. Freak-offs is a much more catchy, snappy thing to kind of put out there. And they say staff organized transportation and lodging and set up rooms and lubricant and lighting and paying the sex workers with catch providing drugs. I wonder if they're going to have any way of trying to discredit. Will his lawyers try to make it seem like it was all consensual and Cassie was not just game, that she was a enthusiastic participant, and at some point she'd take the lead? I wonder if they have evidence of that. Do they have any evidence or proof on their side that can show that Cassie was like properly taking the lead on stuff and not make it seem like she was always being coerced? Because if they can't, then it's going to be a wrap for Diddy, isn't it? There's no way he can come out of this and like not be found guilty. Prosecutors claimed that at one freak-off, Diddy made an escort pee in Cassie's mouth. They said that Diddy was directing every step of the sex parties. He expected the women to appear like they were enjoying themselves. Fucking hell, Diddy. So it's not enough that he pays them to come and do these things. He also tries to force them to react a certain way. That like they can't just do it through gritted teeth. They have to also grin and smile. They have to be happy. They have to at least pretend they're happy. That's some real controlling shit, bro. The feds say that this all started when Cassie was 19 years old with the hit single, and they claim Diddy often got violent with her. So he didn't even give her a time to kind of just enjoy their relationship. Like, usually you think these type of things happen when a relationship gets stale, right? When maybe it's a bit boring and you want to spice up the sex life. But it sounds like he didn't even give her time to just like enjoy themselves together. Immediately as he jacked her from fucking Ryan Leslie, he started to do all this mad shit with her. You know what I mean? She didn't even get time to settle in the industry. She was green, super new. Because imagine, right? The industries are already snaky and full of vipers and scoundrels and scumbags and fraudsters. Imagine the first interaction, the first person you kind of deal with in the music industry at large is Diddy. The first person you deal with is Diddy. That kind of scale, that kind of power, that kind of influence, that's a lot to deal with, man. At 19, 18 years old, Cassie dealing with that for the first time and being, incredibly attractive as well. So you know what time he's on. You know he's not into you because he thinks you're going to be the next Rihanna. You know he's into you, you know what I mean? For other reasons. Wowzers. Prosecutors say Diddy flew into a rage when he found out she was seeing another man, brutally beating her, kicking her in the back and firing her and flinging her around like a rag doll, and blackmailing her by threatening to release video of her having sex with male escorts. So I wonder if that time that he beat her up in the hallway, if that was around the same time that she was allegedly linking Kid Cudi. Because that was another part of the lawsuit, right? That allegedly Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car or something because he heard Kid Cudi was like, messing around with Cassie. So I wonder if that was the reason why we saw that video. The feds also referenced the infamous Cassie beating video and claimed another instance Diddy stomped on Cassie's face. Another time he stomped on her face in an SUV. Bro, I know SUVs are big, but do you know how violent, do you know how crazy you have to be to stomp on someone's face in a car, in the backseat of a car? I know these SUVs are massive, these black SUVs that all the celebrities drive in. I think they're Cadillacs, right? I think they're super big. But you have to be in a real fit of rage to jump up and stomp on someone's head in the fucking backseat of a SUV. Diddy is a mad guy, bro. He then made her hole up in a hotel for a week to hide her injuries. So I guess that was a standard thing then. That also explains why back in the day we'd see Cassie disappear for months or weeks on end. Do you remember back in the day? If you're around, you would have known that Cassie would just disappear. She'd be around everywhere, then she wouldn't be around, then she'll pop up. You know what I mean? So I wonder if that was all those time was to do with her injuries. They said that he beat her when he thought she took too long in the bathroom, and they say he knew that she had no choice when Diddy wanted to have a freak off. God almighty. Prosecutors also brought up another alleged victim, a single mother who started spending time with Diddy in 2020. They say that she started falling in love with him before being exposed to parties. I think that's the girl that Young Miami was having beef with. I think so. This girl in 2020 must be that girl that the other Blasian girl that Diddy was dealing with, who Young Miami was having feuds with online. By the way, that Young Miami shit, why isn't she on trial? That's a strange one, isn't it? Wasn't she all up in the fucking lawsuits, being alleged that she was going on private jets with like Tusi stuffed in her fucking Chanel bag, gonna go drop it off to Diddy, but she's not on trial. Is she a witness? Is she corroborating? Like, it's really strange, isn't it? Because she was the last, main, well-known sort of like concubine woman that was involved with Diddy, and she's nowhere near this. She's just living her life like nothing happened. Like, hold on, why are you not getting prosecuted? Strange. The feds say the woman who's being referenced as Jane Doe thought her freak off was a one-off thing, but it wasn't. They say she wanted the escorts to use condoms, but Diddy wouldn't allow it. Yo, it's one thing making your woman, your wife, your girlfriend be involved in freak offs and stuff and whatever, polyamory or whatever, or like hookups and swinging, but making your actual girlfriend like smash other randoms and then making your girlfriend smash these randoms raw, that's some dark shit, bro. That's dark, man. That is dark. What happened to the days of like treating like, remember back in the day, like, this is very toxic to say, but back in the day when people would treat like side pieces, and then like your wife or missus like your missus, you know what I mean? Like Mad Men era. Like if you wanted to exercise your freaky bone, you'd go and do it with whatever, that person that you know, right? But then back home, you'd be like respectful, you know what I mean? What happened to that? Nowadays, people want to do all the freaky stuff with their main, but then when that's not enough, you get other people involved too, and start like putting a ball gag on your wife and shit. Dark times, man. Dark times. And she took drugs to make it through the parties. The feds says she vomited during one, but did he force her to keep going? Oof. Oof. I can't imagine. The prosecutors say Diddy also beat the woman and blackmailed her with sex tapes, as they alleged he did with Cassie. Prosecutors say that the former Diddy employee, his ex-personal assistant Mia, will testify about how Diddy forced himself onto her, put his hand up her dress and penetrated her. Oh my God. Former personal assistant. God almighty, that's a first-hand experience then, isn't it? Shit. The feds say that Cassie will testify too, as will some of escorts, including one who allegedly saw Diddy assault Cassie and drag her by the face during a freak-off. Imagine beating up your woman, your wife, your girlfriend during a sex party. Surely at that point, how do you get angry with a boner anyway? You know? Think about it. How do you get angry with a boner? You have to be a real psycho to be angry. So much so you want to fight when you got a boner. Like, you know what I mean? First of all, when you got a boner, the only thing you're thinking about is a fucking boner. You want to deal with that. What's at hand right now? You're at fucking attention. But for some people who are psychos, they're able to still get angry, still fight with a rock hard boner. And not only fight, beat up your wife, beat up your girlfriend. Crazy guy. Diddy is charged with 5 federal counts, 2 charges of sex trafficking, 2 charges of transportation to engage in prostitution, and a single count of racketeering conspiracy. He's pleaded not guilty to, and his defense says that the freak-offs were consensual. Whew. And then to make matters even worse and more gross, his family came out in force. Diddy's family came out in absolute force. It feels like it's a show of force because everyone came. Like the mothers of like other kids and shit, all the kids, some of them were holding hands, walking into the courtroom together. I get it, that's their dad. I understand it's their dad, you know, whatever happened. But come on, bro. It's not like he's on trial for like speeding offenses. You know? You've seen the Cassie video. Like, you know it gets dark. You heard the allegations. It just seems in such poor taste that they're out there, but I guess it's their dad, so they got to do what you got to do. The headline says Diddy trial, family arrives in force, Combs kids at the court with his mother and baby mum. So let's play a bit of the clip here from TMZ of the family walking into the courtroom. That's Diddy's family. They're walking into a courtroom now, every single one of them. Security's opening the door and letting them in.
How are you feeling this morning, Mr. Geragos? Are you ready for today?
Mr. Geragos, anything you have to say as we head into a jury selection and then opening statements?
Have you spoken to Diddy? How's he doing? How's he feeling?
No comments, of course. Good.
Anything to say before
Oh, let's see the fit. What are you wearing today? You look fantastic. We love the suit. Today's the day.
Good morning, sir.
There's Brian. That's Brian Steele, Young Thug's attorney, actually. That got him acquitted. So that's actually a smart move by Diddy. He got the lawyer in from Young Thug's trial who got Young Thug the plea deal. Not acquitted, sorry, the plea deal. And I think he came in last minute, if I'm not mistaken. So this is probably a smart move by Diddy to get one of the best lawyers out at the moment who did a really good job with that YSL case. So he's walking into the courtroom.
Have you spoken
Do you have a
to,
second for a question?
Have you spoken to Sean Combs? Like, how's he doing? How's he feeling? Does he feel positive today? I know he was nervous last week.
His publicist said that he was upbeat this morning.
Can you confirm that?
I can't talk about the case at all, so I don't want to violate the court's order.
Well, how was your weekend? What did you do over the weekend? Was it strictly planning, or did you relax, or did you have a drink?
Thinking about you guys.
More people outside of the courtroom. Aglifino coming in. Okay, there we go. So the entire family walked into the court case. So as you can see here, there's some of these kids. Oh, there's another girl. I didn't know there was another daughter. So there's the two twins. One's called Jessie, the other one's called Delilah. And then there's another girl, another daughter that's called Chance. And then there's Christian Combs. I think these are all the kids who are the kids of what's the name? The lady that died, unfortunately, the mother that died recently. So I think these are all the kids that are from that marriage, I'm assuming. There's a whole bunch of other kids now. They're showing Quincy, they're showing Justin, they're showing someone called Dana Tran, who may be the mum. I'm not too sure who that person is. But they're all there. They're all there as a show of force. And I don't know, man. I get it. I totally get what they're doing. I totally understand why they're going there with this show of force for their dad. But it's just the fucking allegations, man. It's just what he's been accused of. It's just such in bad taste, especially when it's considering most of it has been done towards the violence and the whatever else has been abuse has been targeted towards women. It's just a difficult one, isn't it? When you're his daughter and you're having to almost defend this by going to court, it's like, ugh. Unless they know something we don't, you know? Unless they know something we don't regarding the case, it just seems like in very, very bad taste to be doing such a thing. But I guess, you know, when he's your dad, it is what it is, isn't it? So let's see how it pans out. Let's see how it pans out. But the family did arrive in force at the trial to you know, stand in solidarity with Diddy, I guess. And I think there was another report I saw that said that he was in court reading a Bible the entire time, which is fucking hilarious, by the way. Being accused of what he's accused of, and then now you're in court reading a Bible. Now you want to turn to Christianity. Now suddenly you want to, you know, lift your eyes up onto the Lord and surrender yourself. Now all of a sudden religion's important. Absolutely shameless, in my opinion. Absolutely freaking shameless. But big up him. Big up him. Let's continue. So as I was saying previously, or as I said previously before, I have a really, I won't say interesting, but my opinion on like raves and clubs and stuff is starting to shift and change a lot, especially in time, especially given the places that I've been lucky enough to go to, etc. So one thing I was talking about was there was this post on the Reddit which made me flipping laugh regarding the dance floor subreddit. So big up dance floor subreddit, another really good one out there. There's the AVES subreddit, and then there's a dancehall subreddit, there's a techno subreddit, there's a Berghain community subreddit. There's a few subreddits out there for rave culture shit. I've also discovered the AVES NYC subreddit. There's an Amsterdam rave subreddit. There's a few ones out there actually. If one of you guys later, if you comment on this clip later on, I'll probably put a list down in the comments for anybody that wants to check them out. But they're little good communities and stuff to kind of get talking about certain things. Back in the day, this would have been done on probably forums, maybe on Resident Advisor forum, RIP. That was one of the best forums out there. Or, you know, but I don't really use IG as much now, so I'm not really on there too much. But Reddit's probably a good place to kind of read all these fucking suggestions and shit. So this person made this post on the dancefloor subreddit. It's a post taken from a TikTok, and it looks like it might be at some EDM party or something. And the caption on this video says, "Back to the DJ because my friends are the main event." And it features a group of friends dancing on a dance floor, having a good time. So let's play the clip quickly. And to me, this is kind of silly. For me, this is kind of silly because I feel like you're not actually the main attraction. When you go to a club, that's one of the probably the main reasons why clubbing is probably where it's at the moment, was people feeling as if they're the main character. And when they go to these places, you're not the main character. The main character is everybody in its entirety. That includes the DJs, that includes the bartenders, that includes the bouncers, that includes the barbacks, that includes the event organizers, that includes everybody, even whoever, the hangers on in the green room. We're all in this together. So if you're going to the clubs with the idea that you are the main attraction, you are the main event, I understand what the general idea is behind this video, is about like not being obsessed with staring at the DJ, which probably is a little bit more of a newer thing, I think, nowadays. Like, I feel like a lot of people that are going to raves, I've seen it before. I think I forgot what video it was, but there was a particular night, I forgot which night it was, who was playing, but somebody very popular. It might have been like a Malpi or somebody, and the doors open and everybody rushed to the front of the stage, right? Rushed to the front. And then I heard later on that some people were offering people money to stand in that position. Like, they were offering them, hey, I'll give you a certain amount, $100, if you swap me so I can stand in that position right in front to see a DJ. And then I saw another video that showcased Marco Corolla playing somewhere, and it looked really, really depressing. He's playing at a rave somewhere, and people are just standing there looking at him. And he's doing what he's doing, you know, doing the Marco Corolla thing, being the legend that he is. And people are just standing dead-eyed looking at him, or looking at him through their phone as they're recording him. So if this is a counter reaction to that, where people are now instead facing their back to the DJ, not just staring at the DJ and oogling at them and just fucking enjoying themselves and dancing, I'm all for it. But if the premise of this is that you as the raver, you the sole individual, you as in your group of friends are the main attraction, and you're walking into these clubs feeling like you own it, and it's the only people that matter is you and your friends, that's where I'm not into it. Because I feel like raves in general, clubs in general, it's about the community. It's about all of us in that space. Not just everyone on the dance floor, everyone that puts the event on, everybody. We all contribute to it. Why do I say that? Because I'm sure most of you, some of you, have been to parties that maybe weren't the greatest, but they had a great crowd, right? Maybe the person that played wasn't that good. Maybe the lighting was a bit terrible. Maybe the sound was pretty shit. Maybe the security were a little bit too handy. But sometimes the dance floor alone, or maybe having a good experience with a bouncer before you're getting in, or a good experience with some very friendly, chatty, flirty, whatever cloakroom person, can completely change the makeup of your night. So if that's the case, we're all in it together. Imagine you're going to a club somewhere, and like I've seen it happen a lot in places like Berghain and Fold, you're raving and you drop your wallet, and somebody finds your wallet and gives it to you on the dance floor while you're there. Or you drop your phone, or you leave your phone in the fucking bathroom because you were cutting up some adult vitamins onto it, and then somebody follows behind you, chasing you on the dance floor, telling you, hey, you just forgot your phone. Imagine that sort of feeling. After that, it's impossible to have a bad night because somebody just saved you the hassle, having to block your phone, order a new one, pay for it, blah, 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 blah. They fucking looked out for you. So that collective feeling is what fucking clubbing is all about. It shouldn't always be about this idea that you and your friends are the most important people, because you're really not. You're kind of going to the club specifically for the club, and maybe also to see DJs and shit, but it should be about the collective feeling in and around you, which is why it's really important, I think, to actually start dancing, to having a good time on the dance floor, so that you're giving everybody else around you the energy, and then that's rubbing off on others. How many times have you been out places and you've seen somebody going for it, going really, really crazy on a dance floor, and that gets you going? That gets you in a mood to go a bit crazy. It happens all the time. It's happened to me plenty of times. I've sometimes been the person to start that thing. I've sometimes been the person to kind of rub off from somebody else. We've all had that sort of experience. So that only happens when you want to be a part of a collective community, not just you and your friends are the most important people. Because if that's the case, we're then going to have a club full of little silos of groups of people who are just having their own little rave. When really the fun of going to a rave is going with your friends, getting lost, finding new friends, and then finding new friends, and then introducing them to your old friends, and thus groups get merged, friendships get formed, all of that good stuff. So I'm all for it. So big up this person and what they posted, but I don't think it should always be about you and your friends. It should be about the collective community in the dance floor. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nothing. Continuing on, let's talk about this post courtesy of the New York Times. Big up the New York Times. The New York Times have this post, says dance music is booming again. What's different this time? A lot. Fans emerged from the pandemic lockdowns primed to the dance floor. Now online platforms are bringing fresh sounds and budding stars to bring the audiences worldwide. This is pretty cool, man. It kind of goes against what I'm seeing outside. I think I'm seeing a real lack of people on the dance floor. I'm not sure if people can attest to this, but I think the last few times I've been to Berghain, I felt as if like there is less and less people there. I haven't been to like a popular buzzing night. Like I didn't go to the May Day one, which unfortunately, but I'll probably go to the birthday this year, which is it's a 22nd, I think, Berghain birthday, somewhere around November. I'll probably go to that, but I haven't been to like a proper like booming night. But the times I've been to like a regular club nights and shit, I felt like they're a lot more emptier than they were in the past. They're not empty as in there's no one in there, but they're not as full. Let me just say that. Let me reword it. They're not as full as they used to be pre-pandemic. So I think a lot has changed. And especially in the UK with the amount of clubs that are closing, yes, there's a rise in cost in terms of electricity and everything else to kind of run these clubs, but I think a lot of the clubs that are closing is because there's simply not enough people to go around. The people that go to party in certain clubs don't actually go to the other clubs. I don't feel like I'd imagine there's not probably a lot of people to spread around once you've taken into account all the main ones here in London. So I'm curious to see what this article is sort of like seeing. Maybe they mean in terms of the overall landscape, especially online. That's a different thing, because I feel like there's a lot of platforms popping up now and then. Now, here and there, all over the place. I've got a few on my subscription box actually that people now pop up to do like live streaming stuff for. I think I've got a record store somewhere in Portugal that's really popular. There's another sort of like toilet thing. I think it's in France though. I'm sure some of you guys have seen it. I think it's like orange tint. It's like an orange tint. If whore is like green, this place is orange, and I think it's in France where they do like these live stream mixes, but the camera's like pointing downwards from the roof. It's not like in front of them like that. I've mentioned the one in Portugal, and there's a few others as well I've seen pop up. There's one I've seen. There's a few I've seen now in Asia, in places like Japan and Korea and shit. There's one particular one in Korea which I really love, where they get a lot of turntablists in, and it's also doubles up as a coffee store. Oof, some of the clips from there are fucking brilliant. So maybe that's what they're going to. But let's actually read the article and see what they're saying here. And the writer is who? Foster Kamer. So big up Foster Kamer. In late February, just after midnight, a cavernous warehouse in Brooklyn Navy Yard thumped with the Ibiza-themed DJ. The producer Solomon's dramatic synth-heavy house, as red light throbbed over a sea of raucous 20 to 30-somethings. 2 days earlier, he had been at a 20,000 capacity Sphere in Las Vegas open air. Anya, an Italian-American music star whose run at New Year's Eve shows sold out in under 24 hours, grossing 21 million. Who the hell is that? I've never heard of the person. Who the hell is Anya? See, the dance music scene is so fucking big. On God, I have never heard of this person. Anima. Big up Anima. Anima, what happened to Anima? Let's read out. What's that bit again? Anima had, Anima had sold out 20,000 capacity Sphere in Las Vegas in under 24 hours. Shit. And I've never heard of Anima. Anima is a solo project of Matteo Milleri. Is that the guy from Tale of Us? Oh, that is Tale of Us, isn't it? Oh, that's from Tale of Us guy. Oh. And what has been out to so he's branched off. I didn't know that. When the fuck did that happen? I didn't know the Tale of Us guys don't DJ together anymore. Or they DJ separately. I had no idea that was the case. I thought they were DJ together. Yeah, he's one half of the duo Tale of Us and co-founder of Afterlife. Big up Anima. That's fucking sick. I wonder if he started off doing his own thing because the other guy got accused of some essay thing, innit? Back, I remember, maybe, was it? I think I might have spoken about it in the pod. I think the other person involved in Tale of Us got accused of some essay shit. So I wonder if that's the reason why he split and did his own thing. I had no idea he's did his own thing. Okay, cool. Just before 2 a.m., a few weeks later, the London-based DJ and radio host Moxie was shaking Brooklyn's public records with a classic 90s track, smiling ear to ear as she watched over the sweaty 200-capacity nightclub. On one more frigid March night, Z Muffin, a Brooklyn DJ originally from Pakistan, big up that guy, was on stage at the Bushwick venue elsewhere, headlining Azadi, Freedom in Urdu. Azadi, Freedom in Urdu. That's actually good. That's actually nice. I love that word. Azadi, a bill that featured a wide array of global dance music sounds: Chicago house, Jersey club, Baltimore house, dance hall, a ballet funk from Brazil, the Guam thing from South Africa, while the sold out crowd went wild. Shit. Z Muffin, real name Zainab Hassan Distasio, took a trip to Pakistan around the top of the year to DJ Club Karachi, near where the pandemonium at her set bordered on ecstasy. Never in my life, and if I'm from there, have I experienced anything like this in a city, she recalled. She describes a crowd of queer people, trans people, black people, white people, Asian people, all in one space, and sighed it was unbelievable. Wow, I wonder if there's a big population of like black people in India anyway. That's fucking sick. Obviously you'll find them everywhere. I'm sure if there's any black people in India, they're probably Nigerian, because you fucking find Nigerians everywhere, right? Nigerians are fucking global. But that's fucking sick. I didn't know Karachi got down like that. Over the past 4 years, scenes like this are increasingly playing out all over the world as dance music experiences yet another period of boom. Festival lineups are jam-packed with DJs, while some of the biggest names in pop music, including Beyonce, Drake, and Charlie XCX, have made dance music inspired or adjacent albums. It's usually at this point, when a newspaper sees fit to write about it, that the come down starts. This moment, however, is different. To be fair, that is kind of true. I feel like nowadays, I'm seeing more and more people, especially on my timeline of people that I know, like friends of friends or like loose associates, starting to DJ. That was never the case. Like, and I've been DJing for like what, 10 years to 15 years or something. I don't know how long ago. It must be around 10 to 15 years since I've been the first time I DJed and shit. And I'm seeing a lot more people who have started like in the last year or so starting to DJ now and take it very seriously. Not just do it as a hobby, like taking it seriously. They're putting on events, they're putting out mixes, they're trying to get booked in places. That's pretty cool. That's pretty fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie. This moment, however, is different. Fueled by socioeconomic and cultural and technological changes, dance music and club culture have built on the progress of the past to leave a footprint deeper than we've seen before. As costs skyrocket for live instrument acts to hit the road, a touring DJ needs to travel only with a USB stick full of music. The continued evolution of a DJ's hardware and software has softened the learning curve and entry prices for beginners, while expanding possibilities for seasoned performers. And digital platforms such as Boiler Room, a hugely popular video series that pioneered the de facto online DJ video format, has changed the trajectory than it was. I wouldn't say they pioneered it. The people that pioneered it, probably Dance Tripping TV. Remember Dance Tripping TV? If you know, you know. I think Dance Tripping TV existed before Boiler Room. I'm not gonna lie, and that was my first exposure to like recorded DJ sets, and maybe even Fashion TV. Fashion.tv back in the day would have like after parties, or it would show the DJ playing during the runway show on the side and shit. So I think Dance Tripping TV, Fashion TV were definitely pioneers of the live DJ streaming thing before Boiler Room. Boiler Room definitely popularized it, you know what I mean? In the beginning. This is a crowd for a lineup including Solomon at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Yo, what the fuck is that venue? I want to see that venue. Brooklyn Navy Yard. What the fuck is that venue? That looks fucking incredible. Jesus Christ. That looks so cool. Is that what it is? It's actually legitimately at a Navy Yard venue. That looks incredible, bro. Wow. It's actually okay. So it's in the hangar of next to the Navy Yard. So I thought it's actually near the sea. So it kind of looks like Printworks. It's like one big rectangle one big rectangle with super high ceilings, I'm imagining, to be able to fit boats in there and shit. So you can really go crazy with the production and shit, and all the audio visual shit and the lighting. That must be such a fun place to go out and raving. Bit crazy, but it must be super fun. Wow. Okay, cool. Let's go back to the article. Another picture here. There's nothing better than having seeing these type of pictures, isn't it? Red lit with somebody kissing in the background, like so super cool. Boiler Room has been an enormous force, bringing all these kinds of electronic music all over the world to people in their bedrooms, no matter where they are, said the label owner and veteran music journalist Philip Shebon. Previous generations logged time into the record shops and found parties via flyers. Now those worlds are a swipe away, chopped up and served algorithmically in bite-sized, hyper-compelling clips. Yeah, I've noticed as well in recent years. That a lot more people are starting to share. A lot more people are starting to view my shit when it comes to DJing and stuff. I remember in the past, maybe it helps because I'm doing this content and shit. That might help. That's the overall goal anyway, in general, to get to a point of level of clout and fame where I can kind of use it to sort of like get more bookings and shit. But even I've noticed with my small micro level of DJing that I'm getting a lot more people checking out my stuff than they ever did in the past. You know, I see even my streams, my DJ streams, my SoundCloud mixes and shit. Sometimes some of the clips I post up on my fucking socials from time to time with me DJing, I'm seeing a lot more people check that sort of stuff out. Now again, it could be based because, you know, I put myself out there, so people want to check it out. But I think in general, the appetite for that sort of stuff is definitely way more than it was in the past. And if you see some of these platforms, like they get loads of views. Like Lot Radio puts out a lot of DJ mixes for their online radio platform, and a lot of those videos get a lot. Some DJs are not that well known, don't get me wrong, but they still get a lot of views. Whore isn't getting as many DJs as they did in the past, good ones, because of the whole, like, you know, Palestine boycott and shit. But they still get a lot of views, so there's definitely a lot of people there with an appetite to watch this sort of shit. After Boiler Room, you're seeing extremely experimental Brazilian funk DJs, says Shubon. You're seeing grime, you're seeing techno, you're getting the entire spectrum there. The range is another significant distinction to this moment. To no style of music has surged in popularity over the others. That's actually a good point. That's actually a very good point. Hard techno, Afro house, drum and bass, tech house, UK garage, they're all different. They're all finding audiences. That's a very good point, actually. I think, cause I was about to say, I was thinking that the hard techno thing is the thing that you see a lot on the timeline, but that's not true. You still see a lot of that. I know it's very whitewashed, the kind of music, Afro house, but you see a lot of that stuff. You see a lot of Black Coffee. You see a lot of, I forgot those twin brothers, what they called from South Africa. You see a lot of that sort of stuff. The drum and bass stuff, you see a lot of on the timeline too. I forgot the name. There's like a group here in London. Is it called Just Blaze? I don't know what it's called, but it's an online platform too, and they do a lot of like drum and bass nights. I think the logo is like green and black, or it's like green words on black background. They're smashing it. The tech house stuff is popping bigger than ever. I feel like tech house is like the biggest it's ever been, maybe ever since back in the day of like Jamie Jones and all those guys. I feel like tech house is huge now. It's got its own little scene. Like recently, what's his fucking name? Fuse. I might actually go to that. Actually, there's a Fuse festival happening, and I think somewhere in Barking. That Fuse festival sold out super fast in a couple of days. So it's clear that there's a lot of appetite for this shit out there. At the same time, the local nightlife scenes around the world, demystified by the deluge of online content about them, are attracting more attention than ever. That's another good point, actually. Techno tourism, like I like to call it, is probably on the up and up now, because you're seeing everything online, so you can get an idea and a feel of what things are about. Like that's why probably some German festivals struggle, especially some of the ones are like what's it called, Nation of Godwine, those type of places, because the clientele that goes there aren't really online. But I'd imagine they don't mind that. I'd imagine a lot of German festivals probably would rather people on TikTok not come to their festival. But I think a lot of other festivals are probably loving the attention, loving the views, because you're getting now an international audience going. I'm sure, like things that I'm thinking about just now, I'm sure places like Houghton, if you go to Houghton Festival, I'm sure you probably bump into people there who are visiting from parts of Europe. Same for Deckmantle, a bunch of people. I'd imagine, I'd love to know the breakdown. They probably would never tell, but I'd love to know what the breakdown for Deckmantle is of people that come from overseas. I mean, meaning outside of the Netherlands, and people who come from in the Netherlands. I bet you the majority of them are come from the outside because of that era when Deckmantle was like, had a partnership with Boiler Room. that was a great era because a lot of people were discovered through there. It kind of blew up that festival in a big way. Tech has always been really big, don't get me wrong, but it definitely made it an international kind of place to go and shit. It continues here on TikTok, where the electronic music hashtag raked in 13.4 billion views in 2024. Dance music's ever-expanding digital footprint includes influencers explaining the difference between genres, recommending where to hear, or explaining the history of dance music on one record at a time. Bedroom DJs making their music, or sometimes just memes, can build substantial careers, particularly overnight. That's what I need to do too. I need to get on TikTok. I think I need to, once I find my fucking login for my TikTok account, I want to get on TikTok. I want to start doing reviews, or maybe do like live streams of me going to clubs and stuff. They're recommending people tunes and doing the whole history of fucking techno and saying how dance music is black and you owe black people everything. I'm not going to do that shit. I just want to do like experiences that actually go into these places. Maybe do like this is me before the rave. This is me 1 hour in, and those kind of catch up. That'd be pretty good to kind of like capture the moment, capture the night. It's hard to do it online, hard to do it with a phone, because a lot of the club experience, you kind of have to be felt in person. But I'm definitely want to do that sort of thing. That'd be a good way to kind of differentiate some of my content. It says it all adds up to a genre experience, extraordinary reach, the variety of dance music people are producing and enjoying, the places they're dancing to it, and the amount of media being generated about it. And depending on whom you ask, judging by the many interviews conducted on this article with DJs, label heads, bookers, and venue owners across the dance music spectrum, that's for the better or worse, but often both. Yeah, I think it's for the better. I think nowadays, personally, having been somebody that's promoted before and run my own nights, I think now is the easiest and the best time, because now there's an appetite for new things. I think in the past, when I was promoting nights, I would still have to, or we would still have to, book 1 or 2 very well-known DJs to fill up the lineup or to get people to come. Nowadays, I don't think you need to do that. Nowadays, it's all about the marketing, how you push it. But there's a bunch of nights here in London, especially, that don't really have big headliners. A lot of these people are like scene people. A lot of these people are like friends of friends, whatever. But they're not like somebody that you would think the general consensus, general audience of that genre will be into or know who they are. And you can get away with that now. It's probably a lot harder than it is, because I think there's a lot more people promoting than there was back in the day. So the competition is fierce. But if you carve out your niche, and you get your sound right, and you get your community right, and you get all your assets and your marketing stuff right, you could really blow pretty quickly. And you could also dramatically change people's lives by the people that you book, the people that you have come into the event. All that sort of shit can really go up. So I think it's probably the best times. Worst time and the best time, but definitely more the best. Historically, when dance music cuts across the American mainstream, it peaks back in like a pop. In the 90s, Madonna's Ray of Light and the films like Go dragged rave culture into the spotlight as MTV played videos by Fatboy Slim, the Chemical Brothers, and the Aphex Twin. In 2010s, acts like Calvin Harris, Daft Punk, Skrillex, and Diplo brought electronic music, EDM, to top 40 radio by teaming with Rihanna, Taylor Swift, Pharrell Williams, and Justin Bieber. Forbes reported that the top 10 highest flying DJs earned $298 million in 2017. The list included Harris, 48 million, Tiesto, 39 million, Chainsmokers at 38 million. The following year, the superstar producer DJ Avicii, who had spoken on the stress of his job, died by suicide. The dance party, at least the mainstream, seemed to ebb. 5 years ago, amid the pandemic, the global lockdown that came into it, the question of when nightlife would resume, let alone what it would look like when it did, had no clear answer. But anyway, just to go back to this, right? Because it's something that I do, right? Because it's something that I do, I'm sure there's a bunch of you that do it as well, that listen to this particular pod, this particular stream. Pick up everybody tuning in. Those of you tuning in live, I appreciate you. Make sure you smash the like button down below. But there's a bunch of you that probably DJ. There's a bunch of you that probably know DJs. And there's a bunch of people like myself that kind of dabble, right? It's kind of wild to think that there are people out there who are making 48.5 million from DJing. I know Calvin Harris is a bad example because he's also an incredible producer, so he's probably earning a lot of his money based on that as well. But it's kind of insane to think there's somebody out there making $48.5 million from doing the exact same thing that I do, but just on another level. You know, he has the same USBs that I do, likely. He probably has the same headphones that I do, Sennheiser HD25s, or something else of that variation. Maybe he's got the Phonon 4400s, whatever. He's got something along those kind of lines, right? And he's making $48.5 million. Whereas I have to invoice for £50. I have to send an invoice for £100. and sometimes that invoice doesn't get paid until like a month later. And this guy is getting 48.5 million. The gap is gapping. The gap is gapping. 5 years ago, the world, as it turned out, wanted to dance music over a year of social isolation. People of all ages began making up for lost time. Some had missed out on the years when nightlife typically starts to call. Others are aging out of it or catching up with the years that were stolen from them. To be fair, I don't agree with this, but I'm going to continue. Coming out of that, it was quite overwhelming at times, says Moxie, real name Alex Moxon. The first show that I announced after lockdown at a venue club, Village Underground, sold out just like that. Well, I was out just like that. I specifically went to Berghain as soon as the restrictions got lifted. That's why I took the vaccine like an idiot, all right? That's why I was, all vaccinated up and wearing my mask and shit, because I was, I went to travel. And I was afraid that if I didn't get the vaccine, I wouldn't be able to travel. That was the main driver behind getting the vaccine. I got the vaccine. It might have hurt me later on, with these cardiovascular issues that I have now, which is another story, but whatever. But when I went to Berghain the first time after the COVID lockdown had been lifted, the dance floor was empty. I don't want anyone to lie. Anyone that went to Berghain will know it was not as full. No, I don't say empty. I keep misusing my words. I keep misspeaking. It wasn't as full as it usually was. You could see there was a big change from when it usually was. Like the times I've been to Berghain in my life, the only time I saw the DJ booth was that time after COVID. Before, I could never see a DJ booth. Before, I'd walk up the stairs, and from the back of the room all the way to the front, you couldn't see to the front. All you saw a body, so you could never see a DJ booth. When I went that time, was the first time I was able to stand at the back and see all the way through. You could never see through before. So I don't know. Maybe places were different, but I know when I went to Berlin, it was not as popping as it was. I feel like the world kind of changed, and it hasn't recovered since then. Here's the audience at Moxie with Public Records. Here's a scene from the Brooklyn Navy Yard. It didn't stop at nightclubs. The mainstream market for dance music exploded slowly, and then all at once, electronic music artist Fred again went from playing New York's 575 capacity Bowery Ballroom in December 2021 to having a ballroom performance go viral in 2022, to headlining Coachella with Forte and Skrillex April 2023. Last summer, he sold out at LA Memorial Coliseum, 75,000 capacity with only 5 days notice. That is crazy. To be fair, I think they're missing a lot of context there and a lot of detail, but they're saying that Fred again went from playing 575 capacity venue at the Bowery Ballroom in 2021, and then 2 years later in April he's playing at a 75,000 plus capacity stadium at the LA Memorial Coliseum, and he sold it out on 5 days notice. Okay, he makes a lot of records too, let's not deny that. Fred again is like this generation's Skrillex, and not even Skrillex, sorry, what's his fucking name? Not Skrillex. Maybe Skrillex. Is it Skrillex? Or say Skrillex? Not Skrillex. I forgot the guy who I'm thinking of now. But he's huge. Fred again is huge. So I think a lot of this has to do with the music he makes as well. He produces amazing music. But that's an incredible come up, man. From 575 to 75,000 capacity. His DJ fee went up. You can imagine. In 2023, albums by both Beyonce and Drake nodded to house and club music. Charlie XCX promoted her 2024 Brat LP at the Ibiza club Amnesia. A track on FKA Twigs, and the whole thing anyway. The whole Brat album is an ode to the dance floor, to be honest. A track from FKA Twigs, Pulsing You Sexier, was mixed at the Berghain Club Berlin. Sorry, at the Berlin Club Berghain. Berghain Club Berlin is fucking hilarious. And Katy Perry made a not at all conspicuous appearance at the South African DJ Black Coffee celebrity magnet High Ibiza resident to Push 143. Again, no one cares about that. Katy Perry sucks. Still, dance is eclipsing the pop it has used to infiltrate mainstream. Move, a track released last year by Adam Port, one of the members of the German label Kind of Music, has had over 542 million Spotify streams. Okay, no wonder that Adam Port walks around like he fucking dog's bollocks in it. I've never met that kind of music, that Adam Port guy, but I'd imagine in real life, Adam Port has a bit of an ego in him. I don't know why. There's something about when you look at him, you know what I mean? Adam Port knows he's the shit. So if he's got 542 million Spotify streams, you know Adam Port walks around like he's got a fucking, you know what I mean? He walks around like he's that guy. Maybe because he is that guy. Who knows? More than any one song from the releases by Charlie XCX, Peter FK Twigs, artists like John Summit and Sarah Landry and Sam Virgie are becoming household names in their own right. That's very true. Very, very true. Especially, I can even see it from the video I made about Sam Landry. I made a video about Sam Landry and saying that I'm not really too, sure on what I want with her and shit. And the comments were full of people defending her, which is a good sign. I'm a random person on the internet talking shit, and a lot of her friends, a lot of her fans, friends, or whatever, came out in droves to defend her, and obviously, insult me as you do on YouTube comments, which is fine. But that was like when I realized, okay, cool, this girl's somebody. Do you know what I mean? When people are like flooding comments of like a 1,000 view video to like, defend their guy or girl, that's when you know you're on your way to mega stardom. There seems to be more new dance music than new music of guitars, especially in our venues, said Josh Moore, talent buyer who's been booking concerts at the Bowery Presents for 18 years. We've been booking dance acts in rock clubs for a long time, long before the pandemic, but it definitely seems like it's picked up lately. These are some great pictures, by the way. Who took the pictures? The pictures are fucking awesome. Who took the pictures? Photographs and video by David Bellet. Big up David Bellet or David Bielet, David Belet. However you pronounce your name, I'm sorry, but you smashed it. Here's some great pictures. Later this summer, Bowery Presents will throw one of New York's biggest concerts this year, Kind of Music, with an estimated 40,000 planned to attend the event in Flushing Meadows, Corona Park. American music festival lineups are becoming increasingly dominant by dance music acts. The dance music festivals are pulling crowds. Electric Daisy Carnival in Las Vegas attracted 525,000 attendees last year. God almighty. Over 3 days for concerts, Coachella drew in approximately 25. Whoa. Electric Daisy Carnival, which is basically EDM all over, attracted over 500,000 people, and Coachella only drew in 200,000 over 2 weekends. So yeah, maybe dance music is taking over. Maybe more people are listening to dance music than listening to bands. The international market for dance music is, but then again, would you want to be in a crowd of over 500,000 people off their heads on Ket, MD, Coke, fucking ecstasy? Would you really want to be in that room? The international market for dance music is, as usual, even bigger. Large-scale dance music festivals are becoming destinations, like Albania's Unam Festival, or India, where the Amsterdam-based digital festival collective DGTL has started editions in Mumbai and Bangalore or Bengaluru. How do you say that? Bengaluru. On the smaller end of things, hyper niche electronic music festivals are popping up. New Jersey's Dripping, or upstate New York's Sustained Release, now in 11th year and more mythologically than ever. Admissions is granted exclusively to those with memberships, which are by referral only. Yeah, I like this article. This article's blowing up some spots, but it's also highlighting people doing some good shit. So hopefully they get a lot of attention, a lot of rub off this, and hopefully this video does some good as well. This is good to see. It's only going to spread it. Because the more people we get involved in dance music, the more our best clubs don't have to close. That's how I have to look at it. Yes, it's so annoying when new people get in, but the more new people that come into the scene of ours, the more your favorite club, your favorite record store, your favorite venue, your favorite festival won't have to shut, because there'll be people to sustain it, because we need fresh people. We can't go to all the events. We need new people coming in that can fill up the gaps when we don't want to go to Junction 2 one year, or we don't want to go to Houghton. We don't want to go to these festivals one year. Fresh people could come in and kind of fill our spots, and then they can recommend others, and then so on and so forth. That's what we need. And if the veritable mecca of dance music Ibiza is any measure, Spanish island has shuttered tourism spending records over the past few years, enjoying a 30.78% increase in tourist spending from 2019 to 2024, a year which tourists spent a record of 3.964 billion euros. This month, the largest nightclub in the island's history, UNVRS, pronounced Universe, is set to open. It announced itself with a trailer including Will Smith, and when it opens, it will have the capacity to have 15,000 people, making it the world's largest nightclub and venue, on par with arenas. 15,000 people capacity. I bet they're not gonna have any openers. They're not gonna have any resident DJs there, are they? It's fair to say, at this 15,000 capacity venue in Ibiza, they're not probably gonna have any resident DJs. Everyone there is going to probably have everyone that plays is probably going to have a verified account. Dance music's latest moment isn't entirely a party. Longtime practitioners and devotees fret that the infable qualities that make nightlife great, and the spaces and DJs who made it that way are under threat from the spirals and upwards and onwards. Artists and venue owners have argued that festivals siphon money from nightclubs, which also stands to lose regular business during global economic downturns when disposable income is tight. That's to say nothing increasingly competitive commercial real estate markets in cities where nightlife thrives, or the shaky Ibiza civic fabric as essential workers in the price of its island. A generation drinking less and spending more online isn't helping. I don't know. I've always felt like there should never be like too much overlap, or there shouldn't be too much, like you shouldn't be encouraging like that. I feel like people that go to festivals don't necessarily need to be the same people that go to clubs. You just need to have more clubs. They need to be open longer. It needs to be more of an attractive option. But I don't think it's fair to say that festivals ruin clubs. I think they're just different experiences. There's some people that probably save up all year or save their holidays, their vacation, because not everywhere has as great vacations as we do here in the UK. They just save up all their vacation days to do all of their partying at festivals, because festivals usually are better value for money than clubs, because you're seeing a lot more people in a condensed short time. Yes, it's not the best experience, but it's still a way to see them. But I don't think that means that clubs should suffer. I think if anything, clubs should be helped, you know. Governments, councils and shit, they should help to make sure that the clubs are not at a threat of gentrification and shit, and you're able to kind of keep these spaces open so people can play. Obviously the rent's low as well, bills low, so that local people can play, talent can play, big stars can play, attract more people to the area, blah 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 blah. The financial interests around the music business are changing to KKR, a large global private equity firm who now owns some of the world's largest music festivals via portfolio company Superstruct. In addition to Boiler Room, some of its events have now not gone very over well with the largely progressive dance music community. But yeah, that's why people were sometimes, that's why some people were actually advocating to boycott Boiler Room, which I don't agree with personally. I think that was a bit overboard and unnecessary, but some people were really advocating to boycott Boiler Room because KKR have some direct links to the IDF. So I get it. If you're that way inclined, I get why you'd boycott Boiler Room because of KKR, but so far we haven't seen KKR or Superstruct have any kind of real editorial directorial whatever control over Boiler Room. They've been able to do what they want to do to the point where the Boiler Room staff put up a statement basically kind of distancing themselves from KKR and kind of calling out their fucking owners, which is fucking crazy. But that only happens because the Boiler Room staff are sort of siloed. They can do their own thing. So I think they should be given a chance to sort of like continue to do so. And to be fair, Boiler Room is a platform that's legitimately changed people's lives. Some people have made their whole career off the back of that, or they've been able to take music professionally seriously off the back of that, and it's been a bit of a staple. There's not many good platforms like that left anymore, unfortunately. Really, I can't think of another platform that kind of comes close to Boiler Room's scale already, to be honest. So yeah, it'll be a shame to lose them if that's the case, but so far I think everyone's kind of moved on from that. I hope so. Festival lineups and the Spotify playlist, along with more viral forms of dance music and other big celebrities, tend to overshadow and underrepresent the marginalized communities and foundations of dance music's bedrock. More pictures here, all look great. Artists like Honey D. John remain dedicated to highlighting genre's black queer roots, which was shown in Chicago and Detroit clubs and New York's lofts. Past, present, and future exist on a continuum, she told the Times in 2002, but it's just reintroducing things into now. She credited the trans women she met working in nightlife while providing support and resources over to her own transition. As many writers have noted, electronic music has long provided a safe space for trans, non-binary artists and fans. To be honest, I don't agree with that. I would always die on that hill that there's no such thing as a safe space. You're not even technically safe in your own house, apartment, abode. The idea of a safe space kind of denigrates or takes away from your own personal responsibility and not taking care of yourself and those around you. You can't go into a club thinking it's going to be a safe space, no matter how strict the entry policy is, no matter how many fucking wardens they have, peacekeepers, door pickers. You always have to keep your head in a swivel. Look after your friends, look after yourself, cover your drinks. Don't get too fucked up so you don't know where you are, and so forth and so on. You cannot go into these places, nightclubs at night, where people are under the influence and think they're safe spaces. They are not. Technology has facilitated a quantum leap for the promotion and dissemination of music, but phone filming in nightclubs and increasingly a vibe smothering Scrooge, erasing the anonizing, what's that? The anonizing catharsis of the dance floor. Established DJs with years, if not decades of experience are struggling to promote themselves on the social media while competing with newcomers who leave as quickly as they show up. In that regard, just get better at it, man. I don't care. Get better at it. I saw that guy from fucking Secret Sundays. He's doing pretty well on social media. He's really pushing it. He's kind of old. He's having to do his, I forgot the guy's name, I forgot what his name is, but there's one half of Secret Sundays. He's kind of pushing himself and still DJing and putting on events and shit, and he's doing the social media thing. He's showing records, he's playing new songs, he's talking about his, you know, his gigs and stuff, talking about the history of music, doing what people need to be doing. So if he can do it and he's old as fuck, everyone else can do it. I don't think there's any excuse. If you want to partake, if you want to participate, if you want to compete, you got to do that sort of shit. If you don't, then just don't do it. But I don't like the complaints, to be honest. It is what it is. And now with social media, it's fucking easy to do this type of things with your phone. Don't cry. The proliferation of Instagram stories and TikTok stories by DJs showing themselves, it doesn't feel great, says Eamon Harkin, a DJ from Eamon Harkin from New York, who's been DJing since 2007, the co-owner of the beloved Brooklyn nightclub nowadays since 2015. He likened the practice to putting the DJ on the pedestal over the music and the dancers. It feels like we're pulling away from the essence of the culture, which is about the collective experience and the dance floor, with somebody else choosing the music, trying to put it together for a proposal and intentional way to elevate the experience. I think you're thinking about it wrong. Think of social media the same way you think about, you know, mix CDs, mixtapes, business cards. It's the same thing. If you're putting on a night, you might put out flyers. You don't put the flyers out in person anymore. You should maybe still, but people don't do that no more. People do it mostly, you know, online, digitally. Think of it that way. That's all they are. These clips online, the social media presence, just a way to sort of like magnify what you do, broadcast it to the world. But it shouldn't be think of anything else than that. It's not that deep, really. Just promote your stuff. You can if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. But that is the one. Nowadays is one of the first growing number of Brooklyn nightclubs that basement to mirror the European counterparts, with policies banning phones on the dance floor. Before her 5 hour, and to be fair, so far, again, I don't look too much, but I legitimately don't think I've seen a single picture of what the dance floor in basement, that New York club, looks like. And all I've seen is the little down ramp thing that everyone stands in front of the DJs, right? I've seen a little ramp that all the DJs take the picture at, but I don't think I've seen a single picture of the dance floor. And the reason why I say this is because there's a video out there, I'm sure some of you guys have seen it, that famous video of someone recording the inside of Berghain. We've seen what the inside of Berghain looks like. You can see it via fashion, you know, fashion pictures and shit, art gallery exhibitions they do in there. You can see what the inside of it looks like, but I've never seen the inside of basement. So that goes to show they run that ship tight. You know what I mean? They don't let anybody take pictures, because I've never seen a single image of the inside of the basement. Before her 5 hour set at Public Records last month, Moxie grabbed lunch at the backyard of the Greenpoint restaurant and discussed some of the obstacles dance music is facing, including a string of nightclub closures in her native London and mentality shift among some young people towards observing rather than participating. It's I'm just going to stay inside and watch the DJ on stream set, or now I want to be a DJ, I'm just going to practice at home. You need the crowd, she said. You need the crowd to participate. The problem is with that, there's no clubs to go and practice at. People say you need a club, you need a crowd, but there's no clubs. There's barely any clubs that do open deck nights. So if you are up and coming DJ, where do you go to play? There's not a lot of these places that exist, and the ones that do exist are, you know, very, very booked and busy because there's not a lot of them around. So then you'd have to go to Pirate Studios. But these places, I love Pirate, big up everybody at Pirate Studios, but they charge way too much now. It's super expensive compared to how it was in the past. So all these things kind of hurt people and their ability to be able to go and DJ in front of a crowd, which I agree was important. That's why when I was coming up, I made a very conscious decision after I stopped promoting to sort of like start playing in pubs and bars around the area that I was in, or just anywhere in general. And the reason why I did that was because I wanted to play in front of an audience. Yes, the music that I'm playing in these places isn't the music that I really want to play, but I do slip in some of my own stuff here and there. And it's maybe a little bit more commercial than I would like it to be, but I wanted the experience of playing in front of people, because playing in warehouse spaces from time to time is great, but to be honest, I could play white noise for an hour and a half and people will be going crazy because people are off their heads and just want to vibe. But you've got to learn how to kind of play in front of a crowd and an audience. It's just unfortunate we don't have the venues to facilitate that for up and coming DJs. You know, it's a really problematic thing at the moment. There's no venues really, especially the smaller ones, like 500 capacity downwards. and lower, sorry, that can maybe accommodate that and have a couple of nights where residents or, you know, open deck people can play. We don't have that. We really need that desperately to change things a bit. But I think there's a bunch of people, and the people that do sit inside to watch DJ streams are also the people that are not going to go to clubs. Let's be honest. The people that think sitting at home and watching a DJ stream is the same as going to a nightclub are never going to go to a nightclub. So there's no point even talking to those people. It's more so about making the club experience appealing to the people that already go or the ones that are interested to go. And that's about it, really. That's what I would say to counter what that lady said. Those who are motivated to leave the house, there are still many, are finding the resurgence of the music more pluralistic. Women don't feel so intimidated by it, says Moxie. Not so many gatekeepers. That's marked a difference from when she was coming up 10 years ago in a male-dominated London dubstep scene. And this is actually positive thing about social media. Now you can get a following via a different route. It doesn't have to be a mix on the BBC. Yeah, that's true. I think there's definitely, I would say in London for sure, with the queer scene, the LGBTQ plus scene, the gay scene, whatever, I feel like there's a lot more nights out like that now that are fucking killing it. But there are also places where you can kind of be safe, quote unquote, and surrounded by people just like you. So that's really fucking good. So you don't have to go to these commercial, quote unquote, straggle filled places that might make you feel uncomfortable and pissed off. So you can go around people that fucking, you know, are from the same community as you and shit. In January, a Japanese DJ named Yosuke Yukimatsu turned attention to Tokyo's raging nightlife scene and himself with a blistering, exciting body performance. Podcasts like Safe Spaces, hosted by Brooklyn DJ Tony Why Not, shine a spotlight on the mental health issues of DJs' faces, even the genre roots and managing to endure the bedlam of the hyper-evolving present. Just a few weeks ago, there was an Instagram of Kevin Saunderson, a techno inventor and pioneer, explaining in history to a fan who had no idea the genre was birthed in Europe, but in Michigan. Respect to the new fans and the old heads, he captioned the post, Detroit techno is forever. Okay, cool. There we go. Really cool article by New York Times. Recommend you check it out. I don't agree with all the points made, but I think the pictures are beautiful. The videos are beautiful. So big up the photographer. Name is David Billett. And big up the writer, Foster Kammer, for the article. Really, really good. Very, really encouraging article to read about the scene and how it's bolstering and bringing itself up again. And I just encourage anybody that wants to take part in it, go and take part. You know what I mean? Start your own night. Grab a bit of DJ MIDI hardware, whatever, and mix at home. Put on your own party, support your friends, form collectives, start releasing stuff just for the fun of it. Don't even think about it as a career, just for the fucking fun of it. See where it goes, see where it takes you. And usually you can find some long-lasting friendships, even relationships off the back of that shit, and it can fundamentally change the way you perceive and look at the world out there as well. So I do encourage you to do that. If that's the case, I do encourage you to do that. Okay, my friends, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. That has been the Agostinho Zinga Show, episode number 904. It's been a pleasure to have your company as per usual. For those of you listening to me via the podcast app, I will play for you my tune of the day. My tune of the day is going to be from the lovely, the effervescent, the beautiful, the wonderful Coco Jones from her R&B album that just dropped recently. The track that I'm going to be playing from the album is called Nobody Exists. Nobody Exists, courtesy of Coco Blood Clot Jones. The album just released the other day, actually. It's called Why Not More. It's really it's a real refreshing change to hear somebody, an R&B songstress who isn't whispering, an R&B songstress that's actually singing and belting out the fucking hits. So I really recommend you check out Coco Jones. She's one of my favorites of these new girls coming up, and again, she actually sings for real. She got some pipes on her. This particular album, I think, is like 10 tracks or so long. I think 14. It comes in at about 42 minutes runtime as well. So just under an hour, even under 50 minutes. So you don't have to listen to it for that long. But loads of really good tracks on here. Recommend you check it out. There's a couple of singles that people are loving, such as Taste and On Site. But I definitely recommend you check out my song of the day, which is playing underneath my voice now, called Nobody Exists, courtesy of Coco Jones. For those of you watching this particular stream live, don't leave. This show will redirect you over to the random show, which I'm going to be starting in about 5 to 10 minutes. So bear with me. I know I'm a bit late, but I'll be starting that in about 5 to 10 minutes over to the random show channel. Thank you for tuning in to the Agostinho Zinga Show. It's been a pleasure to have your company, pleasure to have your time here, and I'll see you all guys again very, very soon. But for now, take care and peace.